Northeast Oklahoma man accused of killing a woman by injecting her with meth dies in police custody. We'll have the latest. Plus, the state of Missouri sets new COVID-19 guidelines for schools and why the Pittsburgh School District is considering a change in its quarantine policy.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. Coming up this half hour, the Frontenac Raiders face off against Holton in the 3A state quarterfinals. We'll preview tonight's game. And it's World Kindness Day. For our Something to Talk About, we're ending the week on a positive note, asking you to recognize someone for an act of kindness. You can also participate in our Insta poll. Just visit KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. But first, a check on your forecast.
It's going to be a little bit chilly at kickoff tonight for high school playoff activity from the Freeman Health System Sky Camera. Heck, before we even get into the kickoff time, how about 29 degrees right now in Joplin, 27 in Pittsburgh, 34 in Miami, and 27 in Nevada. And the freeze warnings have reemerged in northeast Oklahoma and northwest Arkansas, similar to what we had earlier this week. Just know that if your county is not indicated in purple, it is still cold outside. A look at the contiguous 48 is the jet stream in the trough now making its way over the upper Great Lakes, and that's why the cold and the dry air mass remain. But we've got changes as far as how dry it's going to be. First off, cooler than what it was yesterday. We saw 60s all the way in the mid-60s yesterday. We'll just go mid-50s today, so a good 10-degree difference. Biggest difference that we're seeing in future track is the timing. Instead of it being kind of evening, let's go overnight into early Saturday morning. So just scoot it back about an hour or two from what we had yesterday. And then it just keeps on training from the southwest to the northeast all through the morning. Then we clear out and actually do get a little peak of sunshine there in the central and western portions of the four states. But for the east, probably going to last all the way through the nighttime. Sunday, cooler, 55, and then sunshine will take us back into the 60s to begin next week.
Can't complain with that. Nice temperatures.
The nice thing is about Saturday, even with that rain, we're still going to make it in the mid-60s. Not too shabby when you talk about November precipitation.
Yeah, no kidding. And I'm looking forward to a little bit of, like you said, even with that rain, we'll have decent temperatures, so that's good. We can live with that. Okay,
if you can live with it, I can live with it then.
I don't really want it to rain during the day.
I know you don't. I know.
Yeah.
I know.
All right, thanks, Michael. Well, Delaware County, Oklahoma police say a murder suspect died in police custody on Wednesday. According to authorities, 51-year-old Brian Edward Anderson of Disney, Oklahoma, died at Grove Hospital after suffering a medical episode in jail. Anderson faced charges of first-degree murder for allegedly injecting a woman with meth and filming her death. His wife, Allie Anderson, is also charged with first-degree murder. She remains in custody. An Oklahoma man has been charged with second-degree murder after his 3 dogs mauled another man to death. Police say the dogs attacked after a verbal altercation between the suspect and the victim. Sarah Whaley has more.
Take a look at this video from a Fox 23 camera. There on the right, you see him, Benjamin Spence, a man now wanted for second-degree murder. This video, shot outside the home of Spence's girlfriend, has told the police investigated a deadly dog attack. It happened on October 22nd near Admiral and North 50th West Avenue. Spence and his girlfriend never denied that Spence's 3 dogs mauled a man to death. In fact, this is what Champagne Walker said in an interview with us that day.
We tried everything we could to get the dogs off him, but the dogs were just protecting my daughter, my house. The dogs didn't know any better.
The victim was identified as Curtis Wickham, Walker's ex-boyfriend. Spence originally told police that his dogs attacked Wickham when he forced his way into Walker's home. Police say it was a lie that Walker later overturned herself. A new affidavit shows Walker told police Wickham came to her house looking for his cell phone. She was in bed when she heard a knock on the door. She then heard Wickham and Spence fighting, adding she saw, quote, Spence point toward Wickham, after which the dogs attacked him. The affidavit says Spence then, quote, watched as the dogs tore into Wickham. According to prison records, Spence has served prison time before, convicted of illegally having guns, assault and battery on a police officer, and multiple burglaries. He's now been charged in this new case with second-degree murder and assault with a deadly weapon. The victim's family saying they are relieved and confident an arrest will come soon.
And we will get justice for Cujo if that's the last thing we do.
Our last breath.
Yeah.
We'll fight for our brother.
Yep. So, Ben, if you're out there, they're going to find you.
Spence is also being charged with assault with a deadly weapon. According to the affidavit, he tried to drop a television on Wickham's head as he lay on the ground suffering from life-threatening wounds. Missouri Governor Mike Parson announces new guidelines for schools in the state when it comes to COVID close contacts. The new guidelines were announced at a press conference yesterday morning from the Capitol. Under the new plan, students and faculty who are close contacts of a positive COVID-19 case can remain in school as long as certain criteria are met. Now, those criteria include a mask mandate in place in the district. The contact and the positive case both must have been wearing masks properly, and the close contact must not be exhibiting COVID symptoms.
We have been working hard with DESE and the Department of Health and Senior Service to find a solution that allows us to continue providing a high-quality education to Missouri students, while still ensuring the safety of students, teachers, and all school staff members.
3 superintendents we spoke with tell us in the past they've had several calls from parents of students who have been quarantined multiple times yet never got sick. The superintendents hope the new guidelines will reduce the number of unnecessary quarantines. Pittsburgh Community School District is considering a policy change after an increase in teacher quarantines. The district says on November 2nd, 2% of staff members were positive for COVID-19. Since then, they've had 13 more staff members either test positive or have high-risk exposure, all because of community spread. The district is looking at different policies to address the problem. One option would be to go virtual in specific buildings.
We don't want to make a knee-jerk reaction. We want to make sure that we are educating our public and our students and especially our staff if we have to make any changes.
Teachers in the low-risk exposure category can still teach in person. It's currently unclear how many teachers cannot teach in person, though, since the numbers the district releases are for all staff members, and they will not directly disclose the number of teachers. The Golden City School District in Missouri moved to an all-virtual education until after Thanksgiving break on November 30th. The district says this is because of several people being quarantined because of exposure, not a large number of positive cases. The city of Pittsburgh hosted an open house last night for people to look over plans for the East Quincy Street project. The project includes reconstruction of East Quincy Street from Joplin Street to Rouse Street into a 3-lane road.
Everyone's very enthusiastic about the project. Right now has what we call a rural cross section, meaning it's open ditches to try and carry away any of the stormwater. But you know, Kansas isn't the most up and down state around there. We have a number of flat areas.
Yeah. City officials would like the project to begin in 2022 with completion in the fall of 2023. It's 5:07.
It is going to be a cool and crisp Friday morning. We've got freeze warnings for northeast Oklahoma and northwest Arkansas. Rain begins late tonight, early tomorrow morning. Thunderstorm activity that rolls through. Going to be a little bit of a wet Saturday. Temperatures, though, able to make it up into the 60s and sunshine, mid-50s on Sunday.
That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, a Kansas woman speaks out about a devastating loss caused by COVID-19. Plus, after COVID-19 canceled their regular season matchup, the Carthage Tigers and the Webb City Cardinals are finally set to face off. Preview of tonight's big game. And it's good to pay it forward. We're going to tell you about World Kindness Day. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
It is district championship week for Missouri high school football, and tonight one of the biggest games of the year. It's Class 5 District 6 Championship, Carthage hosting Webb City. These are the top two teams in the state in Class 5. Carthage, number 1, 9-0 record. Webb City, number 2, 9-1. They're both defending state champions. Now, being in the same district this fall, somebody's streak is going to end. Because as we head into the night, Carthage has won 6 straight district titles. Webb City aiming for their 21st consecutive.
One of those things you know, one of your main goals when you go into a season, you want to have the opportunity to play for a district title. That's, you know, so we're at that point, and you know, this is where you want to be playing your best football.
We've played in this game for the last 6 years. This will be 7 in a row, so kids are used to it. We got a new opponent, but everything else the same.
Frontenac Raiders playing in the 3A state quarterfinals tonight, going to take on Holton. And while the Raiders are one of the few local teams still playing this season, it hasn't always been a smooth ride. Our own Andy Ciateco tells us why.
Frontenac's high expectations entering this season were met with injuries and COVID-19 setbacks, resulting in a 1-3 start to the year.
We lost Griffin Saturday right before the kickoff at Columbus, and it kind of threw everybody for a loop, and I don't think we handled that very well the first game. That, and we had some kids get quarantined throughout the year, which is always tough, and every team's dealt with it.
Now, the Raiders are looking healthy and playing some of their best football, winning 5 out of their last 6 games.
For week 11, we're as good as we can be. We're pretty lucky to have almost everybody here.
When we played Girard, we really came together, had a well game. And then after that, Galena, I mean, it's just that this role we've started, we feel really confident.
Frontenac is averaging 22.3 points a night. But defensively, the Raiders held their opponents to just 7 or less the last 3 contests.
Coach Palumbo's always done a tremendous job with our defense, and when our defense plays well, Frontenac's going to play well.
We're always big on defense, and defense wins championships, so we try to build our defense up as much as we can.
After the slow start, the Raiders now have a shot to make it to the Final Four for the first time since 2017, against an 8-1 Holton squad on Friday.
I think they're a great team, but I think we're better. I think we can beat them 100%. So we just got to play to our best ability to get it done.
I think there's nothing that can stop us but us. So if we're all going and we're all going at once, I don't think there's anybody that can stop us.
We know how hard the 3A is. There's a lot of good teams. We know we have to play well to get there. But that's why we play the game, get to this moment, and try to win those big games.
In Frontenac, Andy Ciateco, KOAM Sports.
Kickoff for Coach Mark Smith and the Raiders tonight. 6 o'clock is a home game. It'll be in the NAC. Still to come on the KOAM Morning News, why U.S. foreign policy could rapidly change before Inauguration Day. And a check on our 7-day forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. Just rolling past 5:17 on this 13th day of November. This is a live look from the Freeman Health System sky camera. It's a cold one out there. 29 degrees is where we currently stand in Joplin, 30 in Oswego. Let's roll 27 in Nevada, 31 in Neosho. Now, we do have freeze warnings for northeast Oklahoma and northwest Arkansas. Remember, just because your county isn't indicated in purple doesn't mean it's not freezing cold outside. Just an idea about where our different sites come from, who is able to issue the warnings, watches, and advisories. And this one comes out of Tulsa right there compared to Wichita over here, and this area being, of course, all Springfield. So they just pulled the gun in Tulsa a little bit on us. That's fine. Skywatch Storm Tracker, very clear, crisp morning. No worries about any cloud cover, never mind precipitation. Of course, that's going to be subject to change here by the time we get late tonight into tomorrow. Sunrise at 6:55 on the bus stop forecast with a little easterly breeze as the jet stream, not much of a change, just continues to grab the cold air and it dispatch it all the way down through northwest Arkansas. It did ease up just a little bit on the backside of it, just not enough to get through us. For our Friday. Ada, now remnants, low pressure system off the coast, but you're still going to have storm surges and flooding concerns all through South Carolina and North Carolina. Cooler than what it was yesterday. We'll go high around 55, so about 7-8 degree difference. Of course, the big thing is what develops late tonight into tomorrow as the thunderstorm activity will bubble up down in the southwest. Again, the big difference from what we were looking at yesterday is the timing of it. Knock it back a couple hours. Looks like we really won't hit the southwestern portion of the 4 states there till late tonight. I'd say 10, 11 o'clock. And then carry us in through Saturday morning. Still going to be able to make it, though, into the 60s. Time now to turn our attention to the KOAM News Now Facebook page. Our incomparable producer, Caden Milner, telling me that we could all use a little extra kindness right now. Evidently, maybe it's a reflection upon my attitude lately. I don't know, Caden. What's up, man? Anyway, it's World Kindness Day. Idea is to make a point to do something nice for someone, and it amplifies, of course. Pay it forward is another way of putting it. So our question to you, is there a recent act of kindness that you would like to recognize? You can log on to the KOAM News Now Facebook page and let us know, or take part in our Insta poll. Go to komnewsnow.com/vote, and we'll continue to roll that question being, what's the biggest impact an act of kindness has had on your life? We'll get you your results. Come back, Healthwatch next.
Topping Healthwatch this morning, COVID-19 cases are surging in Kansas. In one small city northwest of Wichita, the positivity rate is over 30%. Caroline Elliott speaks to a woman who lost both her parents to the devastating illness.
A family is mourning the loss of mom and dad after the couple died just weeks apart from COVID-19.
He passed away. It will be 3 weeks on Wednesday. My mom was diagnosed with COVID, and then 2 days after he died, she got very ill. She went into the hospital. She was put in the ICU. She was in the ICU for a week, and then they intubated her.
It's twice the pain any family could imagine.
And I just never thought it was going to hit us.
But a harsh reality inside hospitals.
I think that's probably one of the most painful things that we're seeing in COVID-19 is, you have somebody who lost parents, both of them, in a close proximity, and you have staff here who are taking care of people that they know, and every day they're coming to work to try and change an outcome, and no matter what they do, the end result is the same.
Bill and Judy Mason were married 42 years, still laughing and dancing at 80 years old. Bill owned a business in Hutchinson, and Judy taught dance downtown for 40 years.
I have known Miss Judy for 36 years. Judy is a warrior. She is a force of nature. She has battled so many other things in this lifetime. So many people know her to be the strength of her family, the strength of the studio. And if she doesn't have that strength, then who does?
In the Hutchinson area, the positive percentage rate is above 30%. Doctors warn Kansans, we need a dramatic change. And Bill and Judy's daughter says her parents' death should serve as a wake-up call.
I don't understand how people don't care about all of the people, because my stepfather mattered. And my mom matters.
Judy wanted to do an interview after she lost her husband and contracted the virus. She wanted to stress the importance of wearing a mask and social distancing, but she died before she could do the interview.
According to Johns Hopkins University, Kansas has more than 107,000 active cases and more than 1,100 deaths. New research finds nearly 1/5 of cancer patients are less likely to participate in a clinical trial because of COVID-19 concerns. Researchers from the American Cancer Society say the most common reasons were fear of exposure to the virus and difficulty assessing care during the pandemic. A new CDC report looks at how well diabetic adults in each state are able to achieve the ABC goals to prevent diabetes complications. Now, the ABCs of diabetes stands for A1C, a measure of how well the blood sugar has been controlled. B is for blood pressure. C is for cholesterol, and S is for smoking. The data finds Wisconsin ranked lowest on the list, mostly because of poor cholesterol, marks that Utah scored the highest. At a time when the world's attention is focused on the coronavirus pandemic, a new report says measles cases have been surging worldwide. The World Health Organization says last year the number of reported measles cases around the world was the highest it's been in 23 years. The WHO and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention issued a joint report saying for 2019 almost 800,000 measles cases were reported around the globe. the highest number since 1996. Research also says globally, deaths due to measles have jumped nearly 50% since 2016. The WHO says efforts must be made in communities around the world to get a measles vaccine to everyone in an effort to put a stop to the deadly virus. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Temps right at, if not below the freezing mark on our Friday morning. Only going to be able to make it up into the high 50s. Remember, later tonight, we got thunderstorms that develop down to the southwest and roll through into Saturday morning. Be back right after this.
A Northeast Oklahoma man accused of killing a woman by injecting her with meth dies in police custody. We'll have the latest. Plus, the state of Missouri sets new COVID-19 guidelines for schools and why the Pittsburgh School District is considering a change in its quarantine policy.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:30. I'm Tanya Bach. Coming up this half hour, our Something to Talk About this morning is about World Kindness Day. We invite you to recognize someone for a recent kind action. On our Insta poll question, we're asking, what's the biggest impact an act of kindness has had on your life? You can participate by going to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. First, a check on your forecast.
Freezing temps for the Freeman Health System sky camera in Joplin. 29 degrees is where we stand right now. 25 in Independence, 29 in Carthage, and only 23 in Iola. Now the freeze warnings may just isolate northeast Oklahoma and northwest Arkansas, but it is cold everywhere. Clear too. Lack of cloud cover is why we dropped everything that we picked up yesterday when we made it into the mid-60s. Bus stop forecast says sunrise over Joplin at 6:55, a little easterly breeze as the jet stream, not a whole lot of movement from what we've had. Far right-hand corner of your screen is what's the left of Ada, as it now is just on the coast of North Carolina. Make it up into the 50s today, so about 7-8 degrees cooler than what we had yesterday, but here's a big development. It was what transpires tonight, and it's going to be a little bit later. Say we start about, I'd say like 10, 11 o'clock right there. You see it begin to bubble up. But it takes us all the way into Saturday morning, and we'll have some heavy rains at times, and also, too, we're going to have thunder and lightning with it as well. Clearing off in time for Sunday, and a little cool on Sunday, but a whole lot of sunshine. Look at next week. We're running 60s, 60 sunny and dry next week.
All right. That's looking like a good stretch for next week.
Yeah, next week.
Can't complain about that one bit.
70 popping up there on Thursday.
Yeah, temperatures that don't get too cold at night, just a little. I'll take it. Let's
Yeah,
get through this weekend.
Old furnace is probably getting a workout last night into this morning.
Yeah, it got cold fast last night.
Oh yeah, when that wind shifted, whew.
Oh, it did.
I walked back in the kitchen. I looked at both of them. I said, "Here's the deal. You guys are doing homework. It's been a while since you've been outside. I would strongly suggest that you find your coats for tomorrow."
There you go. All right, thanks, Michael. Well, Delaware County, Oklahoma police say a murder suspect died in police custody on Wednesday. According to authorities, 51-year-old Brian Edward Anderson of Disney, Oklahoma, died at Grove Hospital after suffering a medical episode in jail. Anderson faced charges of first-degree murder for allegedly injecting a woman with meth and filming her death. His wife, Allie Anderson, is also charged with first-degree murder. She remains in custody. The Shootout Police Department says it is changing up some policies due to COVID-19. The department has suspended fingerprinting and VIN inspections, and that does not include those done for businesses, also effective immediately. They're asking people who are involved in non-injury car accidents to exchange information with the involved people. Non-emergency calls for service should call Central Dispatch. The supervisor will determine how those calls for service are handled. Missouri Governor Mike Parson announces new guidelines for schools in the state concerning COVID close contacts. The new guidelines were announced at a news conference yesterday from the Capitol. Under the new plan, students and faculty who are close contacts of a positive COVID-19 case can remain in school as long as certain criteria are met. Those criteria include a mask mandate in place in the district. The contact and the positive case both must have been wearing masks properly, and the close contact must not be exhibiting COVID symptoms.
Sometimes it feels like we're quarantining kids from education, not from COVID. and it's very critical to have these kids in class. Online works for some, but not for all, and we think this is a positive change. We're still going to be very safe. We still have protocols in place. We're always concerned about the safety of our kids and our staff, and we'll continue to follow that.
The 3 superintendents we spoke with tell us in the past they've had several calls from parents of students who have been quarantined multiple times, yet never got sick. The superintendents hope the new guidelines will reduce the number of unnecessary quarantines. Well, the Pittsburgh Community School District is considering a policy change after an increase in teacher quarantines. The district says on November 2nd, 2% of staff members were positive for COVID-19, and since then, they've had 13 more staff members either test positive or have high-risk exposure, all because of community spread. The district is looking at different policies to address the problem. One option would be to go virtual in specific buildings. Well, several other states are still counting or recounting ballots. Oklahoma's election system is winding down. Emery Bryan went to Tulsa County Election Board to show us how they wrap it up.
At the Rogers County Election Board, it's almost quiet. A clerk is entering updates to voter registrations, but otherwise, there's just one more step. It's voter credit, making a record of signatures from precinct ledgers and updating the Oklahoma voter portal. That's the system where absentee voters can track the status of their ballots and everyone can see their voting history.
We go through all of the registries, page by page, line by line, and everybody that signed it gets to have voter credit, voter history credit.
Voter credit is different than making sure your vote counted. Voters who cast ballots in person know that right away, as soon as they put the ballot into the machine.
So if you put your ballot into a machine and it accepted it and you saw the Oklahoma flag pop up, your vote counted. There's no concern there. Your vote did count.
Absentee voters can look on the portal for verification their vote was counted. If it wasn't, election boards mail out a letter explaining why. Election boards go back through the absentee voter records, even rechecking the envelopes to make sure every person gets proper credit for voting, just in case it was missed in the rush of a busy election.
And then, so those things happen. And so that's the reason we go back through, just to make sure that everybody gets the proper credit that they deserve.
Most counties have the records updated now, and if you'd like to check the Oklahoma voter portal, it's also the gateway to updating voter registration and checking the records and requesting absentee ballots. Students at Park Elementary School in Columbus, Kansas are helping raise money for St. Jude's Children's Hospital. And they're taking part in the annual Trichathon and Mathathon. There are only about 4 days left in the fundraiser. The organizer says the pandemic isn't stopping them from helping families in need.
Yeah, I didn't think we were going to be able to do it because of what's going on. And 2 weeks ago, my principal and superintendent gave me permission to do it, and the kids were so excited.
The fundraiser has been going on now for 13 years. Organizers say in total they've raised around $83,000 for St. Jude's. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News. A unique celebration.
You've heard about tailgating for a sporting event, but what about for the birth of a child? It's happening at Joplin's Mercy Hospital, and all because of the pandemic. Details are coming up.
Plus, how Japanese towns are using robots to scare away bears. Yep, but it's first, it's 5:37.
You want me to follow that?
I had a slight pause on that picture there that might have scared me away.
Okay, robots and bears coming up, folks. It's a cold Friday morning. Down below the freezing mark in many places. Freeze warnings for northeast Oklahoma and northwest Arkansas. 54 this afternoon, and then in the thunderstorm activity late tonight all through Saturday morning. We'll be back with bears and robots next.
New this morning in World Watch, China officially congratulates Joe Biden on being elected president. In a statement saying, quote, "We respect the choice of the American people." And now there are growing questions about what U.S. foreign policy is going to look like in the final weeks of the Trump administration, even as the Trump campaign tries to challenge the vote in various states. Jennifer Griffin examines what the next 2 months could look like from the Pentagon.
Multiple senior defense officials say the changes at the top of the Pentagon have sent shockwaves through the U.S. military since Monday, when Defense Secretary Mark Esper was fired by the president in a tweet. The acting Defense Secretary, Christopher Miller, has a new top advisor, retired Army Colonel Douglas Macgregor. Macgregor has in the past argued for the elimination of the U.S. Marine Corps, which he has compared to the Army's horse cavalry in the 1930s, a relic of an antiquated fighting force. Macgregor has also called for a complete and swift withdrawal of all U.S. forces from Afghanistan and wants to shut down the U.S. Embassy in Kabul, which would cripple U.S. intelligence gathering capabilities. He's also called for the removal of all U.S. forces from the Korean Peninsula, something that has raised concern among defense hawks.
To trust the Taliban to police Al-Qaeda and ISIS would be insane. Our presence in South Korea is a buffer against China and keeps North Korea in check.
But the head of the Freedom Caucus urged the president to accelerate the withdrawal from Afghanistan and Iraq so that troops can be home by Christmas. Quote, "Our forces toppled Saddam Hussein's government and successfully fought terrorists of many different stripes in Iraq, including the Islamic State. But these achievements have simply not been worth the cost. Today, Iraq's government is shaky at best, addicted to continuing foreign assistance, and easily susceptible to pressure from outside actors, especially Iran." The new group inserted at the Pentagon have something else in common. They are Iran hawks who might favor regime change and a possible military strike on Iran's nuclear sites before January 20th. The U.S. has about 60,000 troops in the Middle East at bases that would be immediate targets of retribution by Iran, which has 9,000 ballistic missiles in its arsenal.
Well, currently, the U.S. has 3,000 troops in Iraq and 4,500 in Afghanistan. In Kenya, a century-old beloved fig tree got spared the axe. Locally called the Magumo, the cherished fig tree sits in the heart of the Kenyan capital. The fig tree was slated for removal to make way for an expressway when environmental groups and local cultural leaders protested against the move. On Wednesday, Kenya's President Uhuru Kenyatta issued a decree declaring the fig tree a part of the nation's national heritage.
This fig tree is very significant because, number one, it represents a culture, it represents our cultural heritage as a country. And the second thing is that it's symbolic of all our green spaces, because this particular fig tree is valued in our communities right now. Because, number one, there are some superstitions around the fig tree that when the fig tree is cut, something bad is going to happen.
Kenya's most populous ethnic group, the Kiyu, believe the tree has sacred powers. In Landshut, Germany, Bavarian innkeeper Patrick Schmidt came up with his own response to the closure of bars and traditional Christmas food markets by creating his own drive-through Christmas food court. Drivers pull in, get a little artificial snow dusting, hear Christmas carols, and then place food orders with an order taker. Schmidt's spontaneous idea is designed to create Christmas cheer since Germany's 2,800 Christmas markets are closed due to coronavirus concerns. Okay, it has sound. Bears have become such a problem in many Japanese towns. People have deployed robot wolves to scare them away. Oh my goodness. The monster wolf is equipped with an infrared sensor and flashing lights. When a bear or other moving animal trips the sensor, the robot wolf will move its head, make noise, and flash lights. Now, according to city officials there in Japan, bears have become more active and dangerous because they have increased their search for food before hibernating later this month. Officials also say they have not recorded any bear sightings since installing the monster wolf. That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. Let's toss it over to Michael for our something to talk about.
Why do I keep on following the robot monster wolf?
Because it's fun. And our producer loves you.
It is World Kindness Day. Our producer reminded me of that. I don't know if that's indicative of our working relationship or what.
Be nice.
Right. Yeah, I know. That's what he's reminded me of. Anyway, World Kindness Day. You can let us know your comments on the KOAM News Now Facebook page, or check in on our Insta poll. Here's some updated results for you. Our question is, what's the biggest impact an act of kindness has had on your life? With 42% saying making my day, 42% saying it changed your life. Once again, you can take part. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Be back with the news you need to know before you head out the door right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. CBS News projects Joe Biden has won Arizona and its 11 electoral college votes. It comes 9 days after election night and adds to his victory over President Trump, giving the president-elect 290 electoral college votes. President Trump has yet to admit defeat, but a number of Republican lawmakers say the White House should immediately give President-elect Joe Biden access to top-level intelligence reports. Those reports are a standard part of a presidential transition, but must be approved by the General Services Administration. Delaware County, Oklahoma police say a murder suspect died in police custody on Wednesday. According to authorities, 51-year-old Brian Edward Anderson of Disney, Oklahoma, died at Grove Hospital after suffering a medical episode in jail. Anderson faced charges of first-degree murder for allegedly injecting a woman with meth and filming her death. His wife, Allie Anderson, is also charged with first-degree murder. She remains in custody. Missouri Governor Mike Parson announces new guidelines for schools in the state when it comes to COVID close contacts. Under the new plan, students and faculty who are close contacts of a positive COVID-19 case can remain in school as long as certain criteria are met. Those criteria include a mask mandate in place in the district. The contact and the positive case both must have been wearing masks properly, and the close contact must not be exhibiting COVID symptoms. Pittsburgh Community School District is considering a policy change after an increase in teacher quarantines. The district says on November 2nd, 2% of staff members were positive for COVID-19. Since then, they've had 13 more staff members either test positive or have high-risk exposure, all because of community spread. The district is looking at different policies to address the problem. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Big development tonight is going to be thunderstorm activity. Only going to be in the mid-50s this afternoon. Now, by the time we get to about, say, 10 and 11 o'clock, we begin to see it develop from the southwest, move southwest and northeast throughout Saturday morning. We'll see some heavy rain at times, thunder and lightning as well, lasting until scattered during the afternoon there. But the eastern portion of the 4 states, it's going to hang on for a little bit there, clearing off in the west. Now, Saturday is going to be delightful. Mid-50s, sunshine, and then 60s, even a 70 as we begin next week. We'll be right back after this.
The pandemic means more safety restrictions, and that's especially true at local hospitals. But that didn't stop a Joplin family from getting together at Joplin's Mercy Hospital and celebrating the birth of a child in a unique way. KOAM's Mike Mahoney checked out the celebration.
Pandemic restrictions at Mercy Hospital mean no crowded gatherings for special occasions, and that can be tough when a baby is due.
We've unfortunately had to restrict our visitors to labor and delivery, which has been, it's very trying for our grandparents.
But Monica Onstadt was determined to be there for her sister's big day. And with Mercy's blessing, she decided to throw a tailgate party in celebration of her new nephew.
I kind of said it to my family as a joke, not really thinking we would follow through on it at first. And then everyone seemed to like the idea.
And while this tailgate party didn't feature beer and brats, it did feature a very happy new aunt and some ecstatic brand new grandparents. In fact, KOAM was even there to catch their reaction when the baby was born.
He's here! We're so excited!
Very excited.
Celebrating a child's birth may traditionally be a family affair, but hospital staff says this unique family gathering was responsible for a lot of afternoon smiles at Mercy.
With all the stress of COVID and the sadness that goes on, this has been a really bright part to everyone's day today.
In Joplin, Mike Mahoney, KOAM News.
Well, Mercy Hospital says the families of any of their guests can tailgate in the hospital parking lot. They also say they'll soon designate a special tailgating section with signage for future celebrations. Great idea. Congratulations to that family. Michael?
It's going to be the best place to tailgate. Now, we do have high school football, and we've got Pitt State on ESPN3 this weekend, but as far as NCAA goes, why just go down there and tailgate because everybody else is getting canceled this weekend. That being said, now I put a smile on my face and talk about World Kindness Day. KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll asking you to recognize people who have done kind words for you. And I'm going to start with Guy. Guy says, sorry to rain on your kindness parade, but frankly, I haven't seen much of it this year. When the elements that are responsible for this tyranny and fraud are put down, can we get back to kindness? We can get back to kindness. Did I say Democrats? Now, Guy, that being said, I'm going to read a bunch here that are great examples. Michelle Pacini says, fitting question for the day. I think in the past few months, I have less hair with a lot more gray. Still have my voice, still more tired from sleepless nights, don't get excited anymore for a beautiful day. So saying all this, I have apparently been kind to people daily because I have woke up in my own bed and not in jail or a psych hospital. There we go, Michelle. Kitty Kimmel, this is a good one. 247, Southeast Lancers delivered a meal for my wife and I to our house on Veterans Day. Held a small ceremony in my front porch, even had the choir set up in my driveway to sing. Proud to be a vet, honored to be a Southeast Lancer. Thank you, Kenny. And Heather McCord Brown, I collect gnomes, and yesterday my sweet nephew Isaac brought this one for my Christmas tree. He's 11. He used his own money. Truly brightened my day. Thank you, Heather. And Isaac, well done, young man. Well done. As far as the Insta poll goes, you go to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. The biggest impact an act of kindness has had on your life. 59% of you saying made my day. I love the fact that it is 30% of you going with changed my life. Be back right after this. Freezing cold start, but eventually up into the mid-50s. Thunderstorm activity late tonight all the way through Saturday, and a rebound in temps as even though it's going to be a rainy Saturday, we'll have the 60s. Be back right after this.
A Northeast Oklahoma man accused of killing a woman by injecting her with meth dies in police custody. We'll have the latest. Plus, the state of Missouri sets new COVID-19 guidelines for schools and why the Pittsburgh School District is considering a change in its quarantine policy.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. Coming up this half hour, why you may soon be able to use headphones without putting anything in or over your ears. We'll explain. And in honor of World Kindness Day, we made it the subject of our Something to Talk About. Let us know if there's a recent act of kindness you would like to recognize. You can also participate in our Insta poll question. Just visit KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. But first, a check on your forecast.
We know Mother Nature would be a little kind to us and get us above the freezing mark. Freeman Health System sky camera in Joplin, 29 degrees with a wind chill right now of 24. 27 in Pittsburgh, 30 in Monette, 25 in Neodesha. So 32 in Miami and Grove. That's as good as we're seeing right now. And coincidentally enough, it just so happens that is where we have the freeze warnings in Northeast Oklahoma and Northwest Arkansas. Remember, just because your county is not in purple does not mean is not freezing cold. Skywatch storm tracker with a big high pressure system hanging over us with an extremely clear start. That means great shots of Venus and Mercury again. Get out, look at the moon, and just go straight down from there. Clear and cold for the kiddos as they head off to school with the contiguous 48 showing the cold front while it receded through Arkansas just wants to stall out over us. So mid-50s, about as good as we're going to get today. Let's talk about the important stuff, and that is what happens here late tonight. Cruise through Friday, dry, and then Friday night, about 10, 11 o'clock, we see it begin to form to the southwest. Thunderstorm activity, we're going to have some rumbles of thunder in there, at times some very heavy rain, and it'll roll through on the eastern side until Saturday afternoon. The western portion of southeast Kansas, western portion of the 4 states in southeast Kansas, you're going to clear off probably in the morning and even get some afternoon sunshine. Farther east that you push, the rain not only remains, but also too the cloud cover until we get a sunny Sunday.
Oh, yes. We could definitely use a sunny
I'm going to
Sunday.
go about
What's the time
10 to half an inch.
Ooh.
So no flood concerns.
What's the time frame we're looking at the rain right now for this weekend?
Where are you? If you're out on the eastern portion of southwest Missouri, it's going to last until tomorrow evening.
Oh, wow. What if you're right here at Television City?
Right at Television City. Like if you had a camping trip maybe, I don't know, 10 miles away from Television City?
Something like that.
Hypothetically.
Maybe 6 miles?
Hypothetically speaking.
6, 7 miles north? Yeah.
I think you're done around noon and then scattered after that. You're not going to get the train that rolls through at the same point in time. Don't be surprised if you don't have some afternoon raindrops that'll last about 5 minutes, stop, 5 minutes, stop.
But what do you need to be when you're scouting, especially or when you're camping with scouts? Be prepared.
Be prepared.
Always be prepared.
Turn around.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. We don't have any flood. We don't worry about flooding.
These are little guys. They won't be driving, so.
What's the thunder one? When it roars, go indoors. There you go. Or your tents.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck with that.
We'll teach you the lightning crouch. All right. Moving on. Delaware County, Oklahoma police say a murder suspect died in police custody on Wednesday. According to authorities, 51-year-old Brian Edward Anderson of Disney, Oklahoma, died at Grove Hospital after suffering a medical episode in jail. Anderson faced charges of first-degree murder for allegedly injecting a woman with meth and filming her death. His wife, Allie Anderson, is also charged with first-degree murder. She remains in custody. Missouri Governor Mike Parson announces changes to some COVID guidelines for schools across the state. The announcement came at his news conference yesterday. KOAM's Chris Warner has more.
Governor Mike Parson says the new guidelines are a result of efforts from the state combined with health officials who have determined the overall spread of COVID-19 within Missouri schools is low.
This new guidance applies if a district or charter school has a mask mandate in place and all individuals are wearing their mask correctly during the time of exposure. As long as they do not begin to show symptoms, those close contacts may continue to attend school in person.
The plan is similar to the one adopted by the Newton County Health Department in September, which Administrator Larry Bergner says he's pleased to see the state is moving forward with keeping kids in school.
Newton County came out first with the modified guidelines because I saw the data was trending that way, and I felt strongly that the data would continue to trend that way, and I'm thankful that it did.
We spoke with 3 area superintendents on how they feel about the change. Dr. Melinda Moss with Joplin Schools says it should help reduce staff workloads.
If we can cut down on the number of quarantines and do it safely, then that is going to be helpful, and it makes us even more aware for the need for staff and students when they cannot socially distance to be wearing their mask.
Dr. Mark Baker with the Carthage School District says it's a win for students.
Sometimes it feels like we're quarantining kids from education, not from COVID. And it's very critical to have these kids in class. Online works for some, but not for all. And we think this is a positive change. We're still going to be very safe. We still have protocols in place. We're always concerned about the safety of our kids and our staff, and we'll continue to follow that.
Dr. Jim Cummins in Neosho says they initially decided against the Newton County guidance because of pushback at the state level, but he's pleased to see the state pushing forward now.
We're excited about it. I mean, it's what we've been asking for. So we will start looking at it immediately. We've already had meetings internally.
In Jasper and Newton counties, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
All 3 superintendents tell us in the past they've had several calls from parents of students who have been quarantined multiple times, yet never got sick. The superintendents hope the new guidelines will reduce the number of unnecessary quarantines. Pittsburgh Community School District is seeing an increase in teachers who have to be quarantined. The Crawford County Health Department director says in the past 2 weeks there's been a steady increase in teacher exposure from the community. On November 2nd, around 15 staff members were positive. The district says since then, 13 more staff members have gone into either quarantine or isolation.
Because we still have our students who are in the building.
Yeah.
We have to have proper supervision. And we've got a lot of great substitutes who are here on a daily basis. But if you have more quarantines, do you have enough substitutes to make sure that you can adequately supervise all the students?
The district says they cannot release how many teachers are currently under isolation or quarantine order. So it's currently unclear what that number is, since numbers that are released include all staff members. Miami's mayor, after a battle with COVID-19, is encouraging residents to help protect their neighbors. The mayor is recovering at home now, but in a video posted from his hospital bed on November 7th, he encouraged residents to remain vigilant and wear masks.
Please, again, heed the warning of the mask and the hand sanitizer and the social distancing. It'll make a difference. If we can do this for the next 2 or 3 months, maybe we can get it pretty much out of Miami and out of our county. and that's what we need to get done to help protect others.
Missouri Governor Mike Parson once again praised Pfizer and the workers at the Chesterfield, Missouri production facility for their latest announcement concerning a COVID-19 vaccine. He was joined by Christine Smith from the facility, who talked about the work the company did, including a $43,000 person clinical trial.
The design of this trial has allowed us to move urgently while preserving the highest quality and safety standards. Pfizer would like to thank the large number of people who volunteered for this trial, including many Missourians.
Missouri Senator Roy Blunt yesterday said Joe Biden should be receiving classified presidential briefings. He joins a growing number of Republicans, including Senator James Langford from Oklahoma, who say they're still waiting for final results of the election, but believe this part of the transition should move forward. 6:07.
Temperatures in the mid-50s today. We're going to be dry. In fact, humidity is going to drop down around 30% this afternoon. But that all changes late tonight. Southern moisture brings us thunderstorm activity. Begins about 10 o'clock tonight, works southwest to northeast all the way through Saturday morning.
That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, World Diabetes Day.
Raising awareness about a condition affecting millions of Americans. I'm Nancy Chen with what you need to know about diabetes.
Plus, how Ticketmaster is exploring options to get fans back at concert halls. And Jesse shoots some hoops.
With the 21st annual Turkey Shootout taking place 1 week from today in Joplin, we've challenged Jessica Johnson from Joplin Parks and Rec to a basketball shot contest with a paper ball. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
In Money Watch this morning, the world may already be past the point of no return in terms of global warming. That's according to the British journal Scientific Reports. A climate model shows that even if greenhouse gas emissions were reduced to zero, temperatures may still continue to rise for centuries, but they offer a solution. Addition to cutting emissions, humans must also develop technology to remove carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Well, Ticketmaster is exploring ways they can keep customers safe while bringing back live concerts. Those options include possibly providing proof of a COVID-19 vaccine or a negative COVID test. Christina Parson gives us the details.
That's right. Imagine you're on the way to your concert hall and you're excited to see your favorite band, and you get stopped by an employee because you need to prove that you took the COVID vaccine or tested negatively on a COVID test within a 24 to 72 hour period. It's a scenario that Ticketmaster is now exploring. We reached out to Ticketmaster and they said that the enforcement would be on the event organizer. However, keep in mind Ticketmaster is owned by Live Nation. Live Nation owns a lot of venues all across the country, like the House of Blues in Dallas and the Fillmore in Denver, and this would be a massive endeavor. Last year in 2019, 57.7 million people bought tickets to music events all around the globe. So if Ticketmaster were to go through with this, they would have a three-pronged approach. You'd have to have an app, a Ticketmaster app. You'd also have to work with healthcare providers and vaccine distributors. Ticketmaster also said that all of your private information would be kept with an independent third party.
For now, though, Ticketmaster says they're just working on creating socially distanced seating and contactless entry. Well, a headphone experience without headphones. That's what Israeli company Noveto is promising with technology called sound beaming. The futuristic software sends sound waves directly to your ears so the listener can hear the audio, but those nearby will not. The prototype debuts today, and the company hopes to have them for sale by Christmas of 2021. That's it for Money Watch. We'll be right back.
Going to roll a little weather on the 7s here, and a beautiful shot outside of Television City. And what I want to point out, what I've been harping on here for the past couple of days, take that shot right there and go down, you're going to see not only Venus but also Mercury. Now Mercury's been a little bit harder to find, but I was fortunate enough to get this Facebook post from Christina Ogle yesterday, and she even circles out where it is. So you go Moon, Venus, Mercury right there. I want to thank Christina and Travis for sending that in, kind of give you an idea of where to look geographically, because the skies are so clear this morning, you're going to get a great shot of not only the moon, but both the planets as well. All right, average high for this time of year, 60 degrees. Going to be a little bit short on that because our morning is so cold. 27 in Pittsburgh, 30 in Monette, and 25 right now in Independence. We've got freeze warnings for northeast Oklahoma and northwest Arkansas. Remember, it just is a matter of geographically where your city and your national weather station is, so don't think that just because you don't end up in the purple doesn't mean it's not freezing. Contiguous 48, looking pretty clear. We got a big high pressure system over us, which is why we've got beautiful start, albeit a cold one. 6:55 for sunrise on the bus stop forecast. Clear, cold with a little easterly breeze. There's Ada, what's left of it, as it's now off the Atlantic coast. I want to hurry up and get into the good stuff as far as what we're going to have for thunderstorm activity. Like dry throughout the course of Friday until we get late at night. Say about 10, 11 o'clock, we see it bubble up from the southwest. Work from southwest to northeast all the way through Saturday morning. Eastern portion of the 4 states lasting until the afternoon and evening hours. It clears off to the west right there. Then we're able to actually rebound temperature-wise. Look at this. Next week, we're going to roll 60s, if not 70, by the time we get to Thursday. Now, check in with Jesse in Studio L.
Well, there are certain events and fundraisers that happen around the 4-state area that we just love promoting and letting people know about. And one of those is the Turkey Shootout. And we're joined this morning by Jessica Johnson with Joplin Parks and Rec, who is in charge of the 21st Annual Turkey Shootout. Jessica, you and I agreed that this year we would have a competition. We'd each take a paper ball and we would each make our best shot. We recorded these videos individually, and now it's time to see whose shot was more elaborate, more creative, more amazing, frankly. So,
ready to see it.
Can we see your shot first? No. What? That was fantastic.
We had so much fun doing that.
That was a great shot. How many times did you have to practice taking that shot?
I mean, it was definitely a trick shot. I had to practice a couple times.
Okay, all right. That's not too shabby. Do you want to see mine? I don't even know if mine's worth.
Yeah, because it's probably going to be way better.
All right, Jessica, here it is. You know, Jessica, growing up, we used to say one thing before we shot a basketball. Kobe.
That's awesome.
We're going to have people vote on these because, frankly, I can't decide. Yours was great. Mine was ridiculous. We're going to put these both on.
Sound effects, though, so, I mean, it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it took us 4 hours to put that together. No.
I did mine in like 30 minutes.
Yours was great, and it was in the Christmas spirit and the holiday spirit. So, all right, we're going to have these. I'm going to post these on my page. We're going to have people vote which one they liked more. But regardless, if people want to take part in the 21st Annual Turkey Shootout, it's happening November 20th. What are the details and where do they sign up?
So they can sign up at our office, the Joplin Athletic Complex, or they can call our office at 417-625-4750. It's a free event for any kids in the grades kindergarten to 8th grade. And we have great prizes. Academy Sports and Outdoors has helped sponsor this event. And so they've donated gift cards for our first, second, and third place in each grade.
Jessica, thank you for partaking in a wonderful 20.5th annual shootout. Well, I guess it's our first annual shootout, technically, because we haven't had a paper ball contest before. All right, regardless, Jessica, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to have all that info on our morning show page, and we'll be right back on the KOAM Morning News after this.
Topping Healthwatch this morning, Saturday is World Diabetes Day, a day to raise awareness for the common condition that affects 34 million people here in the U.S. alone. Controlling blood sugar is critical to preventing serious complications. Nancy Chen introduces us to a father who's making big lifestyle changes after his diagnosis.
Roger Hare is getting the word out about diabetes. The 46-year-old was diagnosed last year, but he was pre-diabetic for years. He doesn't want others to do what he did and ignore it.
I kind of get emotional when I talk about this. My first reaction to the doctor was on the phone. I said, these numbers can't be right.
His A1C test, which measures blood sugar levels, was 12.7. Anything over 6.5 is diabetic, and he was experiencing many symptoms: blurred vision, excessive thirst, and fatigue.
When I was diagnosed, I have a 5-year-old daughter, and I was coming home and, oh, daddy's tired.
It is the leading cause of blindness, kidney failure, amputation, heart disease, and stroke.
Dr. Robert Gabe is with the American Diabetes Association. He says the consequences of diabetes can be prevented by controlling the ABCs: A1C or blood sugar, blood pressure, and cholesterol. Only a quarter of adults meet the goal for all three.
Now, more than ever, getting your blood sugar in check is critical. People with diabetes face much higher risks for severe complications from COVID-19.
People whose blood sugars are in worse control, the ones that do the worst if they develop COVID. If you look at all the people who have died in the U.S. from COVID, 40% of them have diabetes.
Roger says he knows it can be a lot to handle when you first get the diagnosis.
You're not alone. It's one of the steps in the process is understanding and feeling overwhelmed to the point where you want to make a change.
And that's what he did. He started taking medication, tracking what he eats, and exercising. He dropped 40 pounds and is sticking to his healthier lifestyle. Nancy Chen, CBS News, New York.
The American Diabetes Association says while screening is typically recommended starting at age 45, many people with risk factors such as family history and obesity, as well as being of African American or Hispanic descent, may need to be screened earlier. Well, a new study finds less screen time and more sleep are critical for preventing depression. Researchers in Australia also found a better quality diet and physical activity also strongly contribute to a positive mood. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
A little bit cool today with temperatures in the mid-50s. Thunderstorm activity late tonight carries us into Saturday. We'll be back right after this.
A Northeast Oklahoma man accused of killing a woman by injecting her with meth dies in police custody. We'll have the latest. Plus, the state of Missouri sets new COVID-19 guidelines for schools and why the Pittsburgh School District is considering a change in its quarantine policy.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6:30. I'm Tanya Bach. Coming up this half hour, we'll have the latest on the post-election battle for the White House and something to talk about on the KOAM News Now Facebook page. We're asking if there's a recent act of kindness you would like to recognize. You can also participate in our Insta poll. Just visit KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. But first, a check on your forecast.
Let's kick off the half hour by getting our bearings there, looking down to the southeast, and as we go up, there's the moon. Now, up to the upper right of the moon, that is Venus. Now, with the naked eye, if you go right below the moon, you'll also see Mercury. Not so much visible on the old tower cam outside the mothership, but walk outside, it's a beautiful, bright sight, and I just wanted to give you an idea about exactly where to look. From the Freeman Health System Sky Camera in Joplin. See, that's what happens when I start playing with tower cams and whatnot. There we go. It's cold, I guarantee you that much. Wind chill right now of 24 degrees, and everybody pretty much lingering right at and below the freezing mark, as low as 23 right now in Yates Center. Now, eventually, we'll make it into the mid-50s. That's still about 7-8 degrees cooler than what we had yesterday. Let's talk about what's going to transpire overnight as we push through a dry day. By the time we get to about, say 10, 11 o'clock, we begin to see it bubble up from the southwest right there. Thunderstorm activity with some heavy rain will go anywhere from a tenth to half an inch, so no flooding concerns, but rumbles of thunder go along with it, pushing it out but to the west during the early afternoon where it gets more scattered, but the eastern portion of the 4 states, that's going to hang on a little bit all the way into the evening hours. After that, we're going to clear out for Sunday, sunny skies in the 50s, and then look at next week. We'll ride 60s, maybe even a 70 on Thursday.
All right.
Fun with tower cams, I call it. That's why I'm sitting down, folks. That's why I'm not standing up, because I got like 8 different things to control when I'm doing planets.
We do what we need to.
I want to thank everybody who chimed in yesterday on on not only my Facebook page, but the KOAM News Now Facebook page. We're talking about Venus and Mercury. That's why I harped on it today again. I was going to let it go. I didn't realize it would generate that much conversation. I thought it was, thank you all for participating in that, because you know that sometimes I'm just like, I don't know if anybody cares. I'm a geek.
It's all right. It's all right. We'll take it. Every now and then we enjoy that extra education that you give us.
I don't know if you want me educating anybody.
All right, let's move on now. Delaware County, Oklahoma police say a murder suspect died in police custody on Wednesday. According to authorities, 51-year-old Brian Edward Anderson of Disney, Oklahoma, died at Grove Hospital after suffering a medical episode in jail. Anderson faced charges of first-degree murder for allegedly injecting a woman with meth and filming her death. His wife, Allie Anderson, is also charged with first-degree murder. She remains in custody. Some area counties have updated their coronavirus case numbers. Jasper County is reporting a total of 4,004 cases. Newton County now has 2,598 total cases. McDonald County has 1,417 cases, and Crawford County is sitting at 1,810 total cases. Missouri Governor Mike Parson announces new guidelines for schools in the state when it comes to COVID close contacts. The new guidelines were announced at a press conference yesterday morning from the Capitol. Under the new plan, students and faculty who are close contacts of a positive COVID-19 case can remain in school as long as certain criteria are met. Those criteria include a mask mandate in place in the district. The contact in the positive case both must have been wearing masks properly, and the close contact must not be exhibiting COVID symptoms. COVID-19 cases in Kansas continue to rise, with the state reporting more than 1,000 new cases on Wednesday. The Pittsburgh Community School District says that's causing a new challenge when it comes to teachers. KOAM's Zach Dodge has the story.
For months, one of the biggest concerns in schools has been to keep students safe, and that's still the case today. But now, Pittsburgh School District says they're seeing a different issue because of cases in the community.
What we're seeing is that we've got more teachers that are having to be placed into quarantine.
According to the district, 2% of staff members were COVID positive on November 2nd. Out of the 750 staff members in the district, that's around 15. Since then, according to the district website, there's been 13 more staff members who have either tested positive or had high-risk exposure. But it currently isn't clear how many teachers are currently unable to work in person, since the numbers the district reports include all staff members, and they won't disclose that number directly. Also, even when teachers are quarantined, they can still teach remotely, but even that still leaves a gap.
Because we still have our students who are in the building. We have to have proper supervision. And we've got a lot of great substitutes who are here on a daily basis, but if you have more quarantines, do you have enough substitutes to make sure that you can adequately supervise all the students?
The district is currently looking into different policy changes to address the problem, with one option being moving to remote learning within specific buildings.
We don't want to make a knee-jerk reaction. We want to make sure that we are educating our public and our students, and especially our staff, if we have to make any changes.
Until they decide what to do, officials and some residents are imploring the community to do what they can to flatten the curve.
We as a community, in our families and our own personal circles, if we don't take the steps to care for ourselves, we expose those around us that try to care and help our children.
In Pittsburgh, Zach Dodge, KOAM News.
In all of Crawford County, 13 school staff members are under isolation and 24 staff members are quarantined. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. An election update.
New election results are in, and a group of experts say the 2020 race was the most secure in American history. I'm Deborah Alford in Washington with details on that and on the presidential transition.
Plus, is there an act of kindness that you would like to recognize? We let you weigh in our Something to Talk About segment, but first, it's 6:37.
Let's roll through future track one more time. Rain developing late tonight, and so as we turn the clock into Saturday morning, there we go again, about 1/10 to half an inch of rain. No flooding concerns, but does just make for a wet Sunday, clearing off then for, or Saturday, excuse me, wet Saturday, clearing off for Sunday. Sunny skies and highs in the mid-50s. Be back with Nationwatch next.
Topping Nationwatch this morning. Late last night, CBS News joined the Associated Press and Fox News in projecting Biden has won Arizona and will receive its 11 Electoral College votes. It comes 9 days after election night and adds to his victory over President Trump, giving the president-elect 290 Electoral College votes. Georgia and North Carolina have yet to be called. Deborah Alfarone is in Washington with details about the integrity of the election.
A group of federal and state election officials say the 2020 election was the most secure in American history. There is no evidence that any voting system deleted or lost votes, changed votes, or was in any way compromised.
Right now, there's a swath of voters in this state and around the country that'll say those machines cheated. Those machines miscounted. Somebody hacked them.
In Georgia, where President-elect Joe Biden leads President Trump by about 14,000 votes, officials say a manual audit will prove the system worked.
The point of the audit is to show the machines counted the ballots fairly.
Republican officials who clearly know better.
In an interview with 60 Minutes slated to air this weekend, former President Barack Obama says he's troubled by Republicans humoring President Trump's claims of voter fraud.
It is one more step in delegitimizing not just the incoming Biden administration, but democracy generally.
Here on Capitol Hill, some Republicans are beginning to stray from supporting the president's fight, but a few party leaders are still refusing to acknowledge the Biden victory.
This is nothing more than a temper tantrum by Republicans.
House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy was asked if Mr. Biden should start receiving intelligence briefings.
He's not president right now. Don't know if he'll be president January 20th, but whoever is, will get the information.
President-elect Biden can't receive those briefings until the Trump appointee at the General Services Administration signs off. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, Washington.
Officials with past administrations, including President George W. Bush, say the briefings are critical in making sure national security is maintained in the first few months of the new term. GSA officials say they want to wait until the election is certified, but that has not been the case in past elections, with the GSA approving the Trump transition the day after the 2016 election. Tropical storm Eta headed out to sea after lashing the southeastern U.S. on Thursday. The storm dumped more than half a foot of rain on some parts of the Carolinas. It also claimed the life of at least one person in Florida. Eta is the 28th named storm of the year. That ties a record set in 2005. So look at our top national stories. Let's check back in with Michael for our Morning Talker.
World of Kindness Day on the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our Insta poll. Let's get to the stories. I'm just going to walk over here. I got some good ones to pass along. Mary Gilpin, eating lunch at Rib Crib on Veterans Day. Husband's lunch, complimentary thanks to Rib Crib. She says, thank you, Rib Crib. When we were ready to pay, the waitress said the gentleman that just left paid for the lunches for the veterans' wives. What a kind thing to do. And she says, thank you so much to the nice man. Kay Gorentz says, simple act of kindness, wear a mask to save others. Susie Ogle, my husband's in Freeman Hospice Saturday. Looks like he's going to be there a while and has a nurse a young nurse by the name of Adam, and he's been more than kind to him. Should be more like him. So thank you, Adam, for taking care of Mr. Ogle. What up, Chuck? Brad Watts. My aunt and uncle, Kay and Shelby Horn. My mother was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer in February. Without hesitation, they moved Mom into their house so they could take care of her. All of this, and they babysit my daughter 4 days a week while my wife and I work. It's a debt I'll never be able to fully repay. Brad, thank you so much. And Kay and Shelby are absolutely tremendous people. All right, we'll roll some more of your comments here. That was a good, that's an awesome story there, Brad. We're going to come back and celebrate birthdays and anniversaries right after this.
We take this time to honor today's four-state hero, Captain Carl Shaw, Jr., who served in the United States Army from 2003 to 2006. He fought in the Iraq War, where he received numerous medals for his service. His hometown, Independence, Kansas. We are proud to salute Carl Shaw, Jr., our four-state hero.
Why don't we get our list started here? Oh, are you kidding me? It's Finley's birthday? I didn't realize that. The Merrick, I absolutely adore the Merrick family, and it's hard to believe that Miss Finley is celebrating her 3rd birthday already. Mrs. Merrick, thank you for everything you've done, and a very happy birthday to you. Miss Finley, you celebrate with that panda shirt all day long in the NAC.
All right, we've got Michael O'Banion Jr. in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
His birthday's coming up on Sunday. Want to start the party now. 4
Hey.
years old for Michael.
Born hitter. Born hitter. I can tell him. I know him when I see him. The kid's gonna rake.
He looks so much older than 4.
Love that.
Little man, little man.
Love that. Devin Donaldson celebrating his 6th birthday. Good looking smile there, kiddo. Devin is in Scammon.
Down in the safety orange there. And we've got Avery Gilmore celebrating birthday number 7. Avery is 7 strong this year in Parsons.
Had to talk her into taking that mask off to get that picture right there. Good job. Very responsible of you, Avery. Love that. Reese Knight, he is celebrating his 8th birthday. Sharp dressed dude right there. Happy birthday to Reese in Uniontown.
Jalen Irvin turning 9 years old this year in Joplin.
And Colin Ard. Oh, good catch there, Colin. Nicely done. Colin, happy 11th birthday in Moran.
All right. And Zane Smith. Birthday wishes from the family going out to Zane in Seneca, 11 years old.
Yeah, a little Indian pride right there in the uniform. Love that. Marley Sisney. Now, Marley's celebrating her 12th birthday in Girard. And Marley, get ready for this, okay? Mom, Dad, Evan, Aiden, Quinn, Grandma, Grandpa, Hanson, Grandma, Grandpa, Prettyman. That's a lot of people who love you and wish you a happy birthday, Miss Marley.
And we've got Jordan Pyle turning 12 years old. Great picture there of Jordan in Webb City.
Keen Lewis, he is celebrating his 12th birthday. And then wonderful big brother, I bet you right there. Happy birthday, Keen.
Wilder Merrill turning 2 years old this year. Yep. Gotta have both of them in that picture. Love it.
Big brother figure, how about that? I had 2 and 2, that's why I got confused.
Yeah, I know. Mine says 2 and 2
All right,
as well. Yeah.
Katie Morris, a happy 27th birthday to you.
Pretty picture there, Katie. And Trina Susie is turning 31 this year. Trina celebrating in Frontenac.
There we go. I like that one.
But if we got Trina, we got Amber celebrating 31 as well. Amber Knobloch, and she lives in Pittsburgh.
So in other words, growing up, that was probably trouble right there. They had a lot of fun, you could tell.
I imagine.
Crystal Davis, a happy 36th birthday. Miss Crystal is in Lamar, and Crystal, I want you to know that Zach and Kelly wishing you a wonderful one.
All right, in Fulton, Kansas, turning 51 this year. It's time to celebrate for Tammy Grimes.
Now, Larry Geyer, he's in the hospital right now, but we're wishing Larry the best of luck. He's celebrating his 76th birthday. He's from Pittsburgh, so I tell you what, everybody up at Girard Medical Center, if you knock on Larry's door, practice your social distancing, make sure you tell Larry that we wish him a happy birthday.
All right, love that throwback pic there. Daisy Ritz, celebrating birthday number 84 this year in Chanute. Happy birthday, Miss Daisy.
And a 97th birthday for Lauren Newton. Happy birthday to Miss Newton in Fredonia.
All right, we got one of our 4 state heroes here. Willis Swan, turning 97 years old from Nevada. Understand he was a corporal in World War II, served with the Anti-Aircraft Auxiliary from 1943 to 1946, fought at the Battle of the Bulge and awarded many medals. Happy birthday from your best friends, your granddaughters, and your nieces.
Happy birthday, Mr. Swan. Thank you for your service, sir. Kathy Taylor, she's celebrating her birthday. You get a little Columbus Titan pride right there for Kathy, and I'm going to guess her son. Happy birthday to Kathy. And Chuck Bugny. Happy birthday to you, Chuck, of course, in the NAC.
All right, our list goes on. We've got Joe Reagan celebrating, a resident at Medical Lodges. Elmer Sanders celebrating down in Commerce. And next door in Miami, Rose Cherry, happy birthday to you.
Melinda Grothier, She's celebrating her 52nd. You may know her as Mindy. She works at Brahms. So Mindy, I hope you got the day. If you are working, a happy birthday. Linda Mills, that's Larry Geyer's sister. Linda's got a birthday in Girard. John and Patty Dunnick. Hey, where's our picture, Dunnicks? Well, congratulations on your anniversary. And Janice Gaither, happy birthday to Miss Janice in Columbus. Here's Tanya with a very important birthday announcement.
That's right, you can be a part of the KOAM Birthday Club. All you have to do is go to our website and sign up, and once you do, you'll get special deals from local businesses. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com, sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club today. Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Delaware County, Oklahoma police say a murder suspect died in police custody on Wednesday. According to authorities, 51-year-old Brian Edward Anderson of Disney, Oklahoma died at Grove Hospital after suffering a medical episode in jail. Anderson faced charges of first-degree murder for allegedly injecting a woman with meth and filming her death. His wife, Allie Anderson, is also charged with first-degree murder. She remains in custody. Missouri Governor Mike Parson announces new guidelines for schools in the state when it comes to COVID close contacts. Under the new plan, students and faculty who are close contacts of a positive COVID-19 case can remain in school as long as certain criteria are met. Those criteria include a mask mandate in place in the district. Contact and the positive case both must have been wearing masks properly. The close contact must not be exhibiting COVID symptoms. Pittsburgh Community School District considers a policy change after an increase in teacher quarantines. The district says on November 2nd, 2% of staff members were positive for COVID-19. Since then, they've had 13 more staff members either test positive or have high-risk exposure, all because of community spread. The district is looking at different policies to address the problem. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Freezing cold temperatures to begin our Friday morning. Everybody pretty much mid-20s to low 30s. Eventually, we're going to make it into the mid-50s, but of course the big development is what transpires late tonight and into Saturday morning. Thunderstorms develop to the southwest, work from southwest to northeast. Clears out during the afternoon hours for the western portion of the 4 states, but around southwest Missouri, it lingers all the way to the evening. Temperatures will make it into the 60s on Saturday, then we'll clear out and get plenty of sunshine, but a little bit cooler, mid-50s again on Sunday.
Well, coming up today at noon, we're making 5-star pumpkin bread in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
What makes it 5 stars?
Well, you'll just have to wait and see.
Oh, find out next. Your morning news continues on KOAM, CBS Morning News. That is coming up next.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues, and that's where we find our own Jesse Irwin.
All right, so we challenged Jessica Johnson with Joplin Parks and Rec to a paper ball shootout of the century. Check it out. It's going to be over on Fox 14 at 7 o'clock, you guys.
You're not going to want to miss that because Jesse utilizes one of my favorite radio sound effects of all time, and he does it on TV.
Ooh.
I love the, I've always loved that.
Don't give it away.
I love that drop. I can't do it. Trust me, it's a cool story. Everybody's going to want to watch it. Wraps it up for this Friday edition. Have a great, safe day. Have a marvelous weekend, and happy Kindness Day. We'll do this all again on Monday morning.
And we're going to do it again today at noon.